A pleasant day to everyone. Again, I am Miss Zero, and now we were going to study or discuss about the module 3 about material management and customer satisfaction. I want you to get your notebook and ball pen so you can do your taking down notes. Alright, so what is materials management? So by the definition, is to develop a high customer satisfaction through the transformation of material is the source of component parts into finished products. So the supplier is the raw materials and the components parts of inventory. And also that the purpose of inventory is to decouple the entire production process where materials are combined with labor, technology, and information plus the necessary capital investment. So, bakit po natin kailangan pag-aralan ang materials management? So, kinakailangan po natin mabigyan diin on how to manage our materials. Okay? If these materials are in our storage or in our warehouses. Okay? So, the need for materials management was first felt in manufacturing undertaking kasi nga po sa manufacturing from raw materials, diba, until to process hanggang magkaroon siya ng final product. So, doon pa lang makikita na natin on how businesses manage their materials. So, the servicing organization also started feeling the needs for this control. So, hindi lang po siya nangyayari sa mga warehousing, no? Even this is not just happen, okay, in those businesses who are providing tangible goods. Okay, so even in services, no, nakailangan din po magkaroon ng materials management. So, ano po yung mga services na ito or what we call the non-trading organization. So there are hospitals, university, and a lot more. Okay? So they also realize the importance of materials management. So when every organization uses the number of materials, it is unnecessary that these materials are properly purchased, okay, from your suppliers. Storage or stored, okay, pag natanggap mo yung mga raw materials from your supplier, so make it sure na yung mga na yung lugar mo or yung pinag-i-stockan ng mga products mo, okay, hindi agad masisira yung raw materials na yun. Okay? And used. So, any avoidance amount spent in materials or any loss due to wastage of materials increase the cost of production. So, kaya ba tayo nagkakaroon ng materials management is for us to manage our materials. Ibig sabihin, pag minamanage natin yung materials natin, mas nalilesen or unti-unting nababawasan yung possibility na lumaki yung gastos natin on restoration of our materials. Next po is the object of materials management is to attack material costs on all fronts and to optimize the overall end result. So materials management connotes controlling the kind amount, even the location, the turning of the various commodities used in and produced by industrial enterprises. It is the control of management or materials in such manner that to ensure the maximum return on working capital. Okay, again, why we need to manage our materials? Because obviously the entire or let's say the majority of our assets was there. So meaning sa materials management natin, dito din po natin magagamit yung natawag natin na planning, controlling, organizing. So ayan. Okay, so si materials management and it process through labor. Okay, so ito ba yung combination or ito po yung mga nilalaman ng materials management natin, no? So meron tayong tao para magtrabaho, technology or machine that we need to use, and also some informations came from the suppliers, came from our clients, so that whatever the information is that, okay, pwede po natin siyang gawing idea on how we can invest in the future. Okay, so these are the 5 important functions of materials inventory. Alright, so number 1, we have the raw materials and purchase parts. Okay, raw materials are those supplied by our suppliers, obviously. And this will go into the production line for further processing into finished product. So like what I've said, kanina, the raw materials process into finished product or final goods. So these are inputs in the manufacturing process to service the demand of clients and customers. The stocks are stored in shelves or even bins ready for processing. Okay, so yung raw materials natin, okay, bago pa yan ma-manufactured, nakapila muna yan. Ibig sabihin, doon pa lang sa pila na yun, inaalam na natin na yung raw materials na yun ay nakaschedule for production. Right? Next is, we have the buffer stock in raw materials, or let's say in our warehouse. Alright, so we have the 5 important functions of materials inventory. So number 1, we have the raw materials in process. By the definition or by the use of raw materials, it's also stated in your modules. It says there's that these materials are in the pipeline production. In short, the materials are in current production process. So these materials will form of the total inventory until the finished product is transported to the warehouse for delivery to the designated customers. When we talk about pipeline, ano siya, isipin nyo, it's literally a tube or tubo. No? So yung pipeline na yon, di ba, like for example sa mga Nawasa or Maynilad, di ba? Kapag po binuksan natin yung tubig, dadaloy ito mula umpisa hanggang sa dulo ng pipeline na yon. It's also same thing with production. Okay? Meron po siyang process. Meron po siyang flow. Okay? Na kung saan, ito po yung nangyayari sa mga manufacturing. Okay? So, yung pipeline na ito, it takes sequence of activities. So, yung sequence of activities na yon, ang pumapaloob doon, or yung bumubuo ng activities na yon, are the materials, the labor, and also the technology. So, these trees, okay, sila yung bumubuo ng sequence na yon para po magkaroon ng product or to process to produce the desired products. Next is we have the buffer stock in the warehouse. Alam naman natin, pag sinabing buffer, sobra. Bakit kailangan natin magsobra? Para po hindi magkulang. Diba? Minsan kapag sa bahay, no, lagi nating iniisip, di bali ng sumobra, wag lang magkulang. Same thing with manufacturing. No? Bakit? Kasi the more na nagkukulang yung napoproduce nila, kailangan na naman nila ulit magsalang, another cost na naman yun. Unlike, kapag nagsalang sila, may magbabuffer, automatically yung buffer na yun, pang-reserve nila yon sa mga susunod na delivery nila sa kanilang client. So now, in buffer, the purpose of this is to ascertain the production process will not hamper due to lack of necessary parts or components. So the stock level must be within production schedule for at least 5 days. Bakit? Kasi po, iniiwasan natin yung facing the delays, no? By our supplier. So that's why, bago pa ma-delay or assume na yung suppliers natin ma-delay sila ng delivery, okay? Ngayon pa lang, magre-restock na tayo. Okay? Magbabuffer na tayo ng ating inventories. So, the delay in supply may cause production stoppage. Okay? It will add to production costs and will cause delay in the supply of finished products to intended customers. Yun nga po yung sinasabi ko kanina. Pag nagkulang, again, you need to exert extra effort, extra time, extra money, and so on and so forth. So that's why every businesses need to save some buffer or some excess quantity of their products. Next, for our number 3, we have the cycle of inventories. So the cycle of inventories is the length that is developed between the supplier and purchaser. The purchasing manager must see to it that goods and materials necessary for productions are delivered on time or in cycle. So these materials must be in hand when it needed for processing. So purchaser must be able to replenish the goods or parts that are in production pipeline. So ang ginagawa normally, no, ng mga businesses to their suppliers, meron na silang tinatawag na schedule. Okay, yun po yung cycle of inventory. Ano po yung schedule? Kumbaga, sa kanilang pinirmang agreement, kung ang product mo ay consumable, so expected mo na within this month or within this week, mauubos na siya. So, ang ginagawa ng clients, lagi po silang merong schedule doon sa ating mga manufacturer. For example, in the manufacturing industry that where I came from. So, ang ginagawa nila doon, meron silang agreement, no? Yung agreement na yun, okay, nakapaloob doon kung kailan or yung schedule na deliver. Okay? Kung kailan kami dapat mag-deliver doon sa aming clients. Bakit? Kasi po, they are expecting na kung saan mauubos yung kanilang supply. So, kami, ang ginagawa namin to make sure na sapat yung kanilang supply for their customers also. Alright, for our number 4, we have the analysis of seasonal demand. So, the supply point must meet peak demand when customers' order exceeds production capacity. So, the production could be adjusted with overtime or to shipping schedule when customers demand more products. So, when there exists low demand supply of materials, purchasing must be able to hold delivery of materials. So, ito nga po yun. Analysis of seasonal demand. So, mapapansin natin, di ba, kapag ka nagkakaroon tayo ng mga different holidays, so dahil may mga different holidays tayo, okay, the market or let's say the businesses will need to address the demand of their customers. So, para po ma-meet yun, okay, gumagawa sila ng paraan through shifting. Okay, pag sinabing shifting, ito po yung palitan ng schedule ng mga tao para po yung kanilang paggawa ay dire-diretso. Bakit? Kasi nga po meron silang demand from their customers. Next. For our number 5, we have decoupling of stock inventory. So, inventory is treated as a current asset for accounting purposes. Ito naman kasi po, yung inventaryo natin, no? Diyan po halos lahat ng ating investment. Okay? Nandiyan po talaga yung ating assets. So, it needs periodic audit to determine the total stock in processes or stored in warehouse. Mapapansin niyo po sa Mercury Drugs, yan, meron silang tinatawag na annual inventory. Okay, if you're going to notice, no, before the year end, sarado sila. Okay, bakit? Kasi po nag-inventaryo sila. Why? For, yung po yung tinatawag na audit, no, para po malaman nila na nag-move yung kanilang product, ibig sabihin, nabibenta. Okay? Pag nabilang nila na kumonte, ibig sabihin, nagkaroon ng benta. Yan, mga ganyan. It's just like an auditing things, okay? Or an auditing activities. So, over inventory is a cost that occupies space in the store room. Okay? Because the storeroom or bodega or the warehouse is also kailangan mo mag-invest din eh. Bakit? Because that place will serve as a safest the safest place for your materials. So the stocks may be subjected to damage or wear and tear while in storage. So decoupling permits as alarm signal when to order new materials as needed in the production. Okay, so next, and we have the material flow in the supply chain. Okay? Paano nga po ba dumadaloy yung products natin? Okay? Through the use of management. So, a manufacturing plant which is run by machine, people, and technology operate on rated capacity per day or per hour. So again, it depends on the customer's requirements or depends with the customer's demand. The process here or the arrows here, okay, represents a customer's demand. So kapag po nagkaroon ng mababang demand sa customers, okay, nagkakaroon din po ng mataas na gastos sa production per unit. Bakit po? When the demand for product goes into the lower limit of the plant production capacity. So, yung nangyayari or the tendency is to supply only the minimum materials needed. So, the cost of production per unit goes higher. So, the competitive pricing could not sustain plant operations that that uh, that may result to the less working hours. So, yung supply of raw materials is affected and the supply chain also has to adjust a production schedule. However, kapag naman po mataas ang demand ni customers, ang ating production cost ay bumababa. Bakit po? Is it because, um, if the demand go high, the tendency of the production line is to increase production into its higher unit. So it would mean more materials flow in the supply chain. So this would need more operating time or tendency of plant to operate on extended hours of work. So that the development of three shifting may do, okay, 8 hours per day or even 16 hours per week. Okay, uh, it depends, no? It's they have like alternative or options to meet growing their customers' need. So therefore, it is important to know that when planning for purchase of raw materials, even the component parts or finished products, the plant generating capacity for the production of goods must be considered, and even the acquisition or purchasing of a new material must be based on the capacity to produce and availability of materials to go into the supply chains. So these factors, could be considered in the plant capacity planning. So when pushing for higher capacity, the tendency is higher maintenance costs. Okay, kailangan natin consideration. Bakit? Kasi nga po, the more na mas gamit yung ating mga product, or I mean, mas gamit yung ating mga machines or even technology, may mga cost or maintenance cost na kapalit yun. So, kapag madami ang demand ni customer, we are not just dealing about the cost of production, but also the manpower, dahil sobrang yung paggawa nila just to meet the customer's demand, ay nagkakaroon sila ng manpower fatigue or even the loss of manpower moral kasi nga pagod na kapag po lagi silang pinupush to produce a lot of product. So, on the other hand, lower production costs would mean lower income and higher production cost per unit. So, the cost of production is associated and dependent on the production volume. Okay, next is we have the integrated supply chain. So, ano nga po ba ito? So, this chain, okay, the purchasing professionals in today's competitive market are expected to contribute in a building operating units in profitable operation. So, the purchasing agents need to devise an integrated supply chain management that is consistent with the firm's competitive strategic action. The components and even the leakage okay, are means by which the firm can develop competitive advantage. So the key determinants to purchasing criteria are influenced by the individual. This individual are buyer, no? So ano po ba yung buyer performance and how the relate or the related rewards system. Okay, so the competitive priorities define the desired purchasing criteria and the reward system determines how closely the competitive objectives are met by the organization. So, meron po tayong tinatawag na purchasing strategy. So, yung purchasing strategy natin, meron po siya iba't ibang conditions. Okay, so these are the conditions. So, number one is the company's competitive priorities. Ano nga po ba yung priority ni company? Okay, saan sila nagpo-focus? Okay, saan po ba sila mas okay? Kumbaga, saan po ba mas pabor? Okay, yung kanilang activities, no? This refers to the company's priority either in the market penetration through improved product quality or wide distribution strategy. So this could be possible by providing customers with products that are affordable for the greater market. So the company must determine its distribution channel and develop linkage with suppliers. So the products are, or let's say the product of acceptance quality must be by the by word of the manufacturer. And then number two, the firm resources capabilities. So this has something to do with the company's strength and weaknesses in the market. So the firm competitive advantage depends on the supply of quality and affordable materials that go into the production line. So the company must be able to buy materials at lower cost by paying the suppliers on time. So the volume purchases will remain or will mean quantity discount. So negotiated lower price index could be another strategy. Okay, so next is we have the prevailing business environment. So ano po ba ito? So this is the competitions in the supply of materials is conditioned by the business environment. So the more supply is needed by the different industries, the higher the cost of materials. So the law of supply and demand prevailing in the business environment indicated that the pricing index of different suppliers. So even the limited suppliers of production materials in the environment constitute monopoly. It is a supplier's market when they dictate the price of materials. Okay, so now let's talk about the supply chain strategies and the competitive priorities. So, bakit po tayo merong tinatawag na competitive priorities through strategies? Is it because we need to have criteria, okay, to set by the or criteria set by the management in evaluating buyers' performance. So this can be influence the effectiveness of the purchasing functions. It is also relatively in congruence with its competitive advantage. So the cost variance in the price of materials is strong determinants in the procurements of needed materials. So the low cost of materials can drive purchasing managers to make a decision. Nevertheless, they should not neglect the other criteria of quality and speed in materials delivery. So delay in production due to lack of supply is another cause of failure. So now we have here the component strategy for competitive priorities. Number one, we have the speed in delivery and reliability of materials. So the delay of materials at the production line is called throughput time. So this throughput time, no, so the delivery time must be short as much as possible. The customers prepares to obtain the good or services in the shortest possible time. So the longer the order stay, the longer the work process inventory will be. Okay, so ano pong nangyayari? So what will happen, no? The congestion in the storage area, so nagkakaroon ng congestion. So delay in delivery would mean profit loss or profit not. Okay? So kaya po 'di ba sa example sa pizza, no, sa delivery, ma-hate late ang tinatawag nila, sinasabi nila, or that is their value proposition because they value the tolerance kumbaga ng mga kanilang customers kasi tayo we always want to become mabilis, so makuha agad, mga ganyan. So this will be the strategies of some businesses. Okay, so next we have the ordering cycle. So this is the process of facilitating the flow of information and the delivery of materials at the plant site. So the customer makes order through the fastest means of communication with an aid of computer-generated system. So they get information and make out inquiries and status of the order materials. So the suppliers immediately respond to materials delivery is called pipeline. So the shortest the pipeline, the better the leakage becomes. This could or this would create good relationship between the customers and the suppliers. So, um, pansinin, di ba? Kapag um, when it comes to ordering system, mabilis na tayo. Okay, na-punch natin agad yan. Na, na, na-relay ka agad natin yan sa kitchen and so on and so forth. And then kapag ka naging maayos ang ating ordering system or ordering cycle, automatically, after noon, dapat once we deliver, kailangan mabilis din. Why? Because that's how customers want. Okay? And since that is the customer wants, it could be your strategy, okay, to fulfill for your customers. Next, number 3, the communication leakage. Okay? So the communication leakage also determine the speed in the delivery of materials. Kaya nga po ngayon gumagamit na tayo ng mga locator, no, kung nasa na yung ating mga products. So, in here, no, with that advent of modern communication system through the use of computer-aided technology, so what we call the ordering time becomes shorter. So, using electronic data or what we call the EDI, okay, electronic data interchange, makes the orders time faster. So, the use of internet in teleconferencing mode makes better and reliable information leakage. So with this speed in communication, the order cycle becomes shorter and the customers are served better. If these things happen, no, the the inventories become fewer to be stored with good and reliable supplier. Next is we also have the channel of distribution. So with the channel of distribution, this refers of the mode of distribution used by the suppliers. So to the customer, so the value or the volume of materials and the weight involved determines the kind of transportation facilities that will be used by the supplier. So the heavy materials are usually shipped through cargo vessel in container when coming from a foreign supplier and through trucks or train when coming from local supply chain. So light materials may be tough for air transport. It will be determined also by the expenses in terms of fare. So, as it will add cost in our delivery of materials. So, dito, no, sa channel of distribution natin, since we distribute product, we also need to make sure during transportation, safe po yung taong mag-drive, yung taong pahinantre. Okay, paano natin malalaman na sila ay safe? Siyempre, kailangan, no, malaman nila or the driver will check uh, if yung ginagamit niyang truck ay okay pa ba, pwede ba bang ibiyahe, yung ginagamit ba na yun na truck kayang magbuhat ng ganito kadami o ganito kabigat. So, yun. Even those things, we need to consider when it comes to channel of distribution. Next is the speed response in materials acceptance. So the focus of responsibility in the acceptance of materials also depends on the receipt of the materials at the plant site. It involves the following activities. So ano-ano po yan? Number one, the physical receipt which involve physical count. Ayan, totoo yan. Kapag kami dumating po na raw materials, okay, I experienced this, no? From 8 to 5, nakatayo lang ako doon sa inbound namin, no? Chine-check kung tama ba yung bilang, no? Tama ba yung dumating na order na, ayun, tinatabla kasi yun sa purchasing order, dun sa receipt, kumbaga. Okay, and then next is, inspection as to its compliance with the order specification and quality. Okay, not just about the kilo, not just about the quantity, yan. May mga inspector din tayo. Bakit syempre kapag may sira yung product, no, kailangan natin yan ibalik kaagad sa ating supplier para po mapalitan. Yan. Okay, next is the unloading the materials and moving into the storage area. Okay, ako madalas ang ginagawa ko, sinusundan ko palagi yung mga pahinante. Okay, para nila akong anino. Bakit sila kailangan sundan? Kasi po, some of the pahinante, hindi po nila alam ano ba tawag dito? Yung magsalansan, yan, magsalansan ng mga dinideliver nila. So, ikaw, since alam mo kung saan siya dapat ilagay, no, since ikaw yung tao sa bodega, no, kailangan, alam mo din kung paano mo rin matutulungan yung pahinante para ma-unload niya ng maayos yung mga materials na na-deliver sa inyong storage or sa inyong bodega. And next is the documentation processing. Lahat po ng activities sa warehouse or sa bodega, lahat po yan may kakapilan. Bakit po? Kasi dito natin malalaman kung kailan dumating yung product, okay? Dito natin malalaman kung sinong supplier yung nagpa-deliver, kung magkano yung product ng mga materials, no? So, yan. Diyan po nakalagay yung tinatawag na documentation processing. Okay. So, next we have the customer satisfaction. Ayan. So, the customer satisfaction is a happy feeling for good and reliable service or the level of fulfillment of his or her desires, needs, and wants. It also a fraction of customers' demand that is satisfied without delay. The receipt of something that is promised and the receipt on time is a great element in the development of customer satisfaction. So the level of customer satisfaction, no, could not be assessed without getting feedback from the customers. Kaya po, di ba kapag sa mga restaurant, no, so sila nagbibigay sila ng mga feedback form for them to know or for us to evaluate how the service they are providing to us. So, yan. Para po malaman nila kung saan sila mag-improve. Okay? And the customer's feelings are either objective or subjective. Diba, nag-rate tayo is either 0 to 1, 4 to excellent, so yun yung mga yun. As the feeling of satisfaction changes from time to time. Bakit po? Kasi po, nag-iiba po ang ating satisfaction. So, ngayon, gusto mo yan, nakuha mo, na-satisfy ka. Then, after mo ma-satisfy, you want another. So, same thing with how you deal with your goods or some of your stuffs in your house, diba? Kapag ka nakuha mo na yung gusto mong product, diba? Meron kang Kumbaga, nag grave ka, no? Once you grave, nabusog ka, na-satisfy ka, automatically, maghahanap ka na naman ng ibang pwede mong i-grave. Nakakita ka na naman ng picture na masarap, mga ganyan. So, gusto mo na naman bumili nun, mga ganyan. So, ibig sabihin po, yung satisfaction natin, nag-iiba, no? Depende doon sa desire natin. Depende po doon sa ating needs or wants. And also, no, the feeling of customer satisfaction also hinge the quality of products or goods or the services rendered. Good quality is what the customers expect from the supplier and is form part of customer satisfaction. So, minsan kasi may mga customers na kung saan they don't care about the price. What they care is about the quality. So, it doesn't hindi nagmamatter sa kanila kung magkano yan. They still want to buy. Why? Because in the end of the day, when they get the product, they felt satisfaction. Okay? A customer who would notice a small defect on its alarm system for his new car would lose his level of satisfaction, even if the car display its newest form and style. So a new cellular even, no, yung mga phone, no, with newest features and style with slight defect will lose customer level of satisfaction. So we want everything to be perfect because bakit po? Kasi we want our money to be worth. Okay, kumbaga, dapat worth it siya, yung pera natin doon sa mga product na binibili natin. Kaya po, pagka nakakita tayo ng mga kahit konti lang na parang may mali sa product natin, nababawasan po yung satisfaction natin as a customer or as a consumer. So, the level of satisfaction is considered by the quality of product performance. Okay, so now, we have the elements of customer satisfaction. So, ano po yung mga elements na ito? Number one is the availability of materials, no? The materials must be available as they are needed in the production. In time delivery, okay, stipulates that it must be just in time that the customer receive the goods. So the customer service is measured by the degree to which the product is completed or shipped to the buyer as stipulated in the agreement. Yan. So we want our product to be available kasi kapag hindi available yung product, what we will do? Okay, we choose other products. Next naman, right, another with the availability of materials. Example, made to order products usually take time to deliver. It requires lead time delivery. So customer and supplier must communicate the expected delivery time in order to avoid possible disagreements. So high delivery performance needs flexibility on the part of suppliers and customers. So made to stock are products or materials that are on the supplier shelf ready for shipment. Kaya nga po may mga buffer tayo. So there is a short lead time delivery as it needs only documentation and shipment of materials. So lead time is conditioned by the distance and the means of transportation that will be used. Okay, next is we have the shipment and receipt of material. So on time, shipment is the delivery of materials as promised to the customer. So the delivery time be calculated that the goods or materials are received in a stipulated period, which must be include the shipping time. The customers are more satisfied when the supplier delivered the goods on its promised date and time. So the customers usually places orders based on the date when they are needed. So the customer expect the materials to arrive on time if needed, not on the day the materials are shipped. So on the other hand, when order is made without necessary lead time for delivery, there will be some dissatisfaction, no, on the part of the customers. It should be done clear that the supplier is not in control of shipping time, especially when it requires passage in custom areas where a lot of paperwork should be necessary. So the supplier and the customers must communicate on possible problems to avoid misunderstanding. And another critical point that suppliers of materials must guard against is the incomplete shipment materials. Some materials may be lost in transit, and claim on such losses are still in the hand of supplier. So the storage and delivery may happen if it was not double checked against invoice. So any shortage must be communicated immediately as it may cause delay in the production. Next is we have the receipt of materials quality. So, the customers expect to receive the specified quality of materials when it arrives at its destination. So some materials may be damaged while in shipping. So the materials of or the quality of the materials can deteriorate while in transit. So the packaging may be damaged. At this will affect the quality of materials delivered. So loading and unloading of the materials may cause damages, which is still the responsibility of the supplier. While suppliers can make insurance claim for mishandling of damaged materials, it will take time. So the delay in the replacement or repair of a damaged item is an added cost outside of the double delay in the processing of product. So the possible of typical count of the materials is to determine shortage in the delivery. So the inspection is done to detect the possible damage of materials while in transit. So from the supplier warehouse to customers shortage area. So any damages before the receipt by the customer is the responsibility of the suppliers, which in turns could be charged against the carrier or the shipping agent. So nevertheless, customer satisfaction is affected as it may cause some loss of profit objectives. Next is the supplier's flexibility and responsibility. So the name of the game in the customer satisfaction in the manufacturing sector lies in the hand of the supplier. So satisfied customers will continually patronize the product of the suppliers. In the Philippine setting, the Suki is developed because the customer are satisfied with the service of the supplier. So the demand of the customers must be satisfied with a certain limitation, but such limitation must be borne with the effective communication. So the customers pay the bill that is like like blood of the suppliers' businesses. So the customer satisfaction is the willingness and ability of the supplier to effectively perform some non-standard tasks for the customer. It is also going some miles away from the ordinary if it will not cost too much for the supplier. And having a effective communication leakage is an instrument that will sustain customer satisfaction. Okay, the suppliers must also admit immediately some material storage or damages before product reaches the production floor. More damages will be created at the part of the customer when defective parts of component reaches the final stage or the finished stage. The customer satisfaction can also hinge the customer honesty and humbleness to accept some loss of shipment shortcomings, and other minor defects. Or the truth will set them free of further trouble with the customers. So making excuses and lying is not acceptable for customer satisfaction. So the service and responsibility to customer needs are ingredients to a customer satisfaction. And for the last, which is the level of suppliers, product quality. So in here, the quality is very important element in a customer satisfaction. The quality is the statistical measure of product acceptance in terms of its elements and performance when put into finished product. So the quality refers to the specification as determined not only by the engineering department but more so the end customer. When the customer patronizes those, it would mean those business and total shutdown. So the poor quality of products that goes into production line causes great damage to both supplier and customer. When defects are found during the receiving and inspection, the cost is still minimal. When it goes further until the end of finished product quality, the damage to both supplier and customer is greater. So the end product is either scrap or undergoes repair, which are needed costs and loss of profit. In that sense, no, it may be worth mentioning that the company may have introduced the best technology and the more skilled people to produce the product. Yet, these elements of production could do little to improve quality if the materials that go into the production line are of the poor quality. So the quality of materials inputs is the uppermost concentration or consideration in the needs of the customers. So the customers are the king and queen in the business industry, and their level of satisfaction must be met in order for the organization to survive in the competitive business environment. Always keep in your mind, uh, customers is our business. Okay, again, thank you so much for listening. If you have any question, please do so.